as you can imagine, we are ardent believers that browser security is a significant force, especially in today's enterprise.
Yeah.
Most of the time when we're working inside of a browser, whether it's using Office 365 or Salesforce or name your favorite SaaS application. Really, unless I'm using, something for teleconferencing like Zoom or WebEx, I'm in my browser. So we see this as a major security megatrend. But it would be interesting to get your take on what you see as the hallmarks of a megatrend, and maybe if you would agree or disagree, or how you see browsers fitting into that IT megatrend. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And actually, it's interesting you brought up WebEx and Zoom. Both those companies have beefed up their browser-based capabilities because they realize for a lot of users, they don't want to download an extra client.
That's right.
If you're trying to do it on a public terminal, things like that, it actually is much easier to do through the browser. So those have caught up with feature parity. Now, as far as megatrends go, the way I've done my research historically is that I'm not focused on one particular topic like a lot of analysts where you live and die with this topic like endpoint security or whatever through perpetuity. I try and focus on those markets that are in disruption. And generally, there's never one thing that disrupts a market. It's the coming together of a number of factors that drive that transition. So if you think back to the early days of the internet, it wasn't just the internet that created this big wave of people using the internet, right? It was the fact that we had Windows-based PCs and we had the rise of the browser. And we had all the, AOL and Netcom and all those ISPs coming up with low-cost broadband. And, then came DSL. And so all those things had to happen together. If one of those factors didn't happen, that megatrend wouldn't have happened. And you can go back, through time and look at the rise of cloud computing and things like that. And what I do see here for browsers is we are at that inflection point. I think one could argue that maybe protecting the browser might have been a bit of a solution looking for a problem 10 years ago when you found it, right? Good idea, but could you really monetize it? Today, especially with hybrid work becoming the norm, work has to become a lot more portable and a lot more seamless to users. So historically, what we've done is we've made the user the integration point for the technology. Before I was an analyst, I was an IT pro, and we would tell people, if you have low-speed access, use the browser-based version. If you've got good internet access, use the fat client, right? For email or whatever. But having the user have to figure that stuff out is ridiculous, right? And so today, there's a big focus on employee experience. Right, and we're driving more to hybrid work. We've moved more and more apps to the cloud. Right, there's companies now that have standardized on SaaS-based applications, which by and large work through the app. And I think all those things are coming together to create this mega trend where the browser is the desktop. Right, even just from the standpoint of security, you want less and less data on your desktop, right, and more in the cloud because it becomes more manageable for the organization. And so all those things have come together. And I do think we are at the inflection point of another one of these big mega trends.